Good morning, everyone. Just wanted to let you know that I am installing a Prossport Evo gauge. All right, so the one that you could change the boost gauge right there with the waterproof sensor. So I'm just gonna go over the wiring and the plumbing on this. So if you do end up installing your own, it would be easy enough for you to understand the concept of it. So blow-off valve, stock blow-off valve. So I use the plumbing on the blow-off valve. A lot of people tell you to go ahead and use the plumbing for your fuel pressure regulator. I don't like that. Just the fact that something happens, a leak on your plumbing itself, it'll probably give you a lean AFR. It'll cause a lot of damage. So to the blow-off valve, I routed that T right there on the yeah, it goes into the manifold, teed it off, ran it down, all the way back here. See it? And this line right here comes with a air filter. All right, most boost gauge have this. I think the only one I've seen is the mechanical one. They usually don't have it. Then you have the electrical sender right there. I just zip tied it for now because I haven't turned it on. So I still got to do the electrical part. All right, and there's a nice access hole right here for the cabin. All right, so the little rubber grommet comes to the passenger side. It's pretty dark. Passenger side, I got all the lines right here, which is gonna go underneath the dash all the way to where I'm gonna be installing the gauge. I still don't know where the gauge is. So here's the Evo gauge. All right, Prossport Evo boost gauge. All right, what's good about it is if you look at it, you could actually daisy chain them to other gauges. So I think the all right, got the light. So where I'm gonna be using, all right, it's called for a constant 12 volt and accessory power. All right, so your constant 12 volt on this car is this white wire, pretty thick wire. All right, I think it's a was it 10? Probably 10 gauge. All right, so 10 gauge. Next to it now, there's a blue wire right next to it, which is right there. All right, so you got your constant 12 volt and your accessory. Now it does call for getting into the headlight dimmer. All right, so I had to open this, and I found with the multimeter, I found where to access that wire at. So the wire, if you look at it, I'm sorry, let me get something that's okay right there. So you got two red wires that's close to me right now, 1, 2, and you got green wires right here that's close to myself. Now on the back side, you got a black, a red, and another red. So what controls your dimmer is that last red right there. All right, so I got it marked down here already, so I know which one it is. Red wire has that silver thing, silver dot, and I got this black wire right here, just where I'm gonna be grounding. So here's the instruction I got. All right, I just made a note on the wires on that Evo to compare to mine. All right, They do provide you with a little wire harness, but the thing is see how short it is. So got to get more wires. I'll be about, let's say 20 plus gauge on this, 20, 22, maybe 24. All right, and solder it. All right, making it a little bit longer, and basically connect to those wires right there, the constant wire. All right, like I said, I told you guys is white, the ground is black, white accessory 12 volt, blue with white dash. All right, red with white dots, the orange. Yeah, you just color match it. So just take your time, because you don't want to put the wrong wire in the wrong place. It's gonna be a pain in the back. Now I do have this right here. This is what Daisy changed the other gauges. All right, so if you buy another type of gauge, that's Prossport Evo, you could actually Daisy chain it without rewiring the whole system again. So yeah, good stuff. Also, what I'm going to be using are these little clips right here. They actually plug into those wire I showed you guys earlier. They do come in gauges, so make sure you got the right gauge. I think I bought it on Amazon. Where are you at? Somewhere here. But that's right here. So like I said, it's different gauges. All right, it clips onto a wire, just like so. Right, it cuts that wire. It gives a little bit of opening on the wire itself. So once it's clipped, all right, you have this where you crimp your wire, where you got to plug it on that little connector. All right, just like that. And it's pretty easy, instead of splicing the wire and going through the process of all the other crap that you got to go through when you're doing wiring. But that right there was fairly cheap. I think I got it for less than 20 bucks on Amazon. All right, so that's what I'm going to be using to splicing the wire. The white one, this is the biggest gauge I have. I believe this is a 22, so that's what I'm going to be using. And for the rest of it are going to be these ones. So hopefully it works. If it does, I'll let you know if it works or not, or either I mess it up. Hopefully I don't burn any wires. But I checked everything on the voltmeter, and everything is looking good. So yeah. So just how this little T thing, when you clip in to any wires, just make sure you're using the plier. Make sure it's on there. I've been using this for years actually, and they work. I have them on my motorcycle, actually on one of my headlight, and it still works. Been there for 2 years. So it comes with this connector right here, where you crimp your wire at that end, and once you crimp your wire, all you're doing is plugging it in. All right, so once the wire's connected to the gauge, plug it in, and you're good to go. That's all you have to do. You don't have to worry about anything. But I usually will tape the area because of you know, moisture and all the other crap that may happen. Oh, it came off. So just see how it comes off right there. Just make sure that thing is all the way in, because you don't want that exposed wire. All right, it does happen, so make sure it's locked all the way in, just like so. And she's good right there. A quick tape. All right, hopefully it works. All right, so I started splicing the wire because I gotta make this a little bit longer. I was gonna pull out the soldering machine, but I got this that I've been using for about 2 years now, and they're pretty dope. All right, so basically what it is solder inside that little plastic joint. So basically you just got to connect the wires, step this in, all right, and use your heat gun, melt that solder material right there, and you'll see this whole thing will freaking shrink. Keep it nice and tight so no moisture comes in. But cheap, Amazon I think, or eBay where I got it from, and they're pretty cheap, and they do work. Okay, well, there you go. I just used my heat gun, and if you look at it, just make sure the solder is actually melted. You'll see it running, and try not to just place it in one place. Go, when you're using your heat gun, go all the way around it, all right, because you might damage the wire. So it's good right there. It's nice and locked. So all you need to do is put a heat shrink, but I think this is good enough. I'll go ahead and place a heat shrink on it for insurance purpose. So I recommend it. Fairly easy to use. Better than a solder gun. It's a pain in the butt, man, if you don't know what you're doing. Yeah. So I decided to go ahead and do a shrink tube over that solder. All right, so it's pretty tough. You pull on it and nothing will happen to it. So the only thing with these wires right here is they're fairly short if you look at it. So I might have to open up the jacket up a little bit and split the wire a little bit wider so I could work on them. If you look at it too, this is a thick wire, and these other ones are small. So don't worry about that, because got it. This resistance right here is going to be heavy, but by the time it gets to the gauge, all right, it's going to slow down that resistance. So just look at it as a water hose. It's not going to damage anything. All right. Because remember that white constant 12 volt, I believe that is a 12 gauge that's in there, and I'm putting on this I believe this is an 18 gauge. But like I said, it's just like a water hose. When you turn on the water, all right, it goes to the big one, it goes to this, slows it down a little bit, that resistance, and then it goes to the small one, which slows it down just enough power to power up your gauge. So you can use a thicker one, but try not to go overly outside what the size of the other gauge. About 3 or 4 gauges over, or 4 gauges over, it'll be fine. Done it before, and never given me any problem. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest. All right, so earlier I told you guys the ground. All right, it's that black wire right there. I decided not to ground it because I'm a dumbass, and I ended up grounding it somewhere else. I thought this was a nice ground right there, right? But it wasn't. I didn't even check for continuity or anything. So it took me a minute trying to troubleshoot why the gauge wasn't working. It was beeping, but it wasn't working. So now I grounded it right there where the pedal or the steering column is. It actually worked. All right. Right now I have it grounded underneath my seat, the chassis. That's probably the best place to get something ground. Just make sure you guys clean everything up. But I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and splice that black wire right there and ground it from there, and it should be good. If you guys look at this, see how it connects, you could actually pull this off. All right, if you need to disconnect, make sure when you guys are installing this, all right, like right now I got my battery, turn it off if you're messing around with it. Now, unless you're looking for the voltage or or continuity on your handy freaking voltmeter. But other than that, it looks like it's working, so I'm gonna clean up the wire. I'm still deciding if I should just go ahead and leave the ground right there, all right, and just run it through the middle console. But I think it'll be a lot cleaner if I just go ahead and tap that black wire like I was supposed to do earlier. Decided not to, like a dumbass. But so far everything is working. Let me see the gauge. Where's the gauge at? There's the Evo gauge. Let me see real quick. All right, hope y'all see that right there. So that's the gauge. I'm gonna go. I think I had. Yep, I got the car on. Put in an accessory. I'll start it right up. Everything looks good. Oh. All right. Sitting at -1, but you could zero that thing out right there. That looks good. All right, it changes like 4 different color. So. And I believe, yeah, if I wired it right, yep, I wired it right. That headlight, all right, had it on there, so that wire that I showed you guys earlier, that is the key for it. That is the wire, but it's on green right now. It's pretty cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean up a bit on the wires and take it for a test drive. All right, everything is installed. All right, the wire's still hanging out, of course. Just doing my checks, and should be good. I'm gonna start her up, see how it is. Temporary mount. It doesn't look bad right there. So let's see what we got. +1 on the accessory, so it gives us the right boost. So far it's working just fine. I need to make a little bit of adjustment, and I'm pretty sure I have a boost leak somewhere, so I gotta find that. But all in all, I'm happy. There's different settings of colors, like I told you guys earlier. Blue, that's that, white, and red. So it's not bad. Not bad at all. Everything is fine. I just need to tighten up some of my pipes, because I just need to recheck them. I'm pretty sure some of them needs changed. Other than that, it's a nice setup. Prossport Evo Performance. All right, see you guys later.